and emotional and, you know, mental things that can happen. And all of these types of clutter, you know, can have a major impact on so many areas of your life. But what I want to cover right now are the three top areas that that's impacted by clutter. So the first, and I hope you guys are taking notes too. So the first obvious area that you can feel impact is your home. Because, and especially right now, you know, quarantine, right? I mean, we're having to adjust to a whole lot of different um, things, right? I mean, we're in quarantine, so now everything in our home has to fit all kinds of purposes, right? And so we have to find a way to deal with so much stuff, right? And so the best thing, I mean, the one the first area of impact is going to be your home because that's where you spend most of your time, right? And stuff can build up as tasks get left undone. You know, you may have a pile of magazines, if people still get magazines. I know, not everybody still gets magazines, but some people do. But my point is, the more messy and the more disorganized your home becomes, the harder it is to get motivated to sort it out, right? The more negative the mental and emotional impact becomes of living in such an environment like that. It impacts you mentally and emotionally, right? And so you become unmotivated. So the home is the first place of impact. Is that making sense, everybody? All right. The second area is your workplace or your workspace. Now, right now, for a lot of you, that may be the same place, like your workplace, and exactly, right? And so, excuse me. So, it's really impacted, when you have a lack of disorganization, all kinds of issues can occur. Low productivity, right? Um, and just like I said, you're not motivated because when you, and I don't know if a lot of you are working from home and you have um, you know maybe you have children and they're homeschooling. There's so much right now that's impacting because you're having to use your place as, for multi-purpose. Right now, for my husband and I, we're both working from home. And so, we have a small space. And so we have to make a lot of adjustments and do, whatever we need to do in order to keep things organized. And so, what you see in terms of, your visual, what I call visual noise, right, will impact your productivity. Because when you're working from home and you see a lot of things that need to get done, your mind is racing and you're thinking, oh man, maybe if I just go ahead and get that done, if I just take out the trash, or if I just, wash these dishes, really quick, or put a load of laundry, in the drawer. You gotta find a way to balance those things out. Okay. But when you have all of that around you, you are impacted and it impacts your productivity. It's really difficult. And I know for me personally, it is difficult. If I have a whole lot of clutter around me, I cannot focus because I am looking at stuff. So in order to keep things down, to keep my level of stress down, I have to have a clear space, so that I'm not looking at all of that stuff. Because again, in my mind, I'm thinking, man, if I can just go ahead and, get that out of my, out of my face, then I can get back to what I'm doing. Well, that's the other thing that happens. You can't become, you're not going to be laser focused on the task at hand, right? So again, your workplace or your workspace is directly impacted when it comes to clutter. Okay. All right, let's move on. So the third place is your personal relationships, right? I remember um, as a professional organizer, and let me kind of clarify that I'm still a professional organizer. I just don't go to people's homes anymore, not just because of the quarantine, but I stopped doing that some years ago because I wanted to I wanted to do more consulting, and so this working virtually and the things that I do virtually is the main part of my business. So, but the third area that feels impacted of clutter are your personal relationships. And so the reason I shared that was because a lot of times and I'll give you an example. When I was going to people's homes, I remember many clients that I have had were their relationships were suffering, the husband and the wife, or the children, or whatever, what have you. The relationship suffered because I remember specifically one that the husband was like, okay, look, we got to get rid of this clutter, right? And I'm sure if you've looked at any of these organizing shows, a lot of times it's the spouse that's having an issue with the other spouse that has all the clutter or won't throw away things or what have you. And so I experienced that so much when I was going to people's homes and getting them organized, to the point where there would be just this uh, uh, huge argument that would develop right in the midst. And there were times when I would have to say, okay, hold up, everybody take a corner. You go to your corner and you go to your corner, sir, And I would be right in the middle of a huge argument because of clutter and disorganization. And so your personal relationships can suffer when it comes to disorganization. It puts a strain on your family life, right? And it could lead to serious tensions with your partner or your children or your spouse or your loved ones, right? And so those are the three areas the top three areas that's impacted because of